Hey y'all, it's Trent Moore back here again. You're probably wondering, Trent, what's going on? What are you going to talk about today? What is this in your hand? It's actually my laptop right here. It's a two-in-one, so that's why I have it folded right here. And also, I'll be looking at it to discuss certain things that I'll be talking about. You're probably wondering, well, Trent, what are you talking about today? Today, I'm going to be talking about how I would learn how to code if I could start over again. Now, you're probably wondering, Trent, why are you even talking about this? You're only 20 years old. What are you talking about if you could start over again? Well, considering the point in time in my life right now, and considering that I went from being a computer science major to being a data science and psychology major, I've really made some decisions. I've made some thoughts. I've thought about things. I think still about a lot of things that I've done. And if I could go back, I really would go back and approach coding and computer science and data science a completely different way. A little background on me. I've always wanted to work in tech. I've always liked tech. I've always wanted to pursue tech just because I find it interesting how technology functions, how it works, how it's created. I find all of it really interesting. And I hope that you all as young people especially can find it interesting too. And I hope that some way, somehow this inspires you in a series of these tech talks that I'll be discussing. I hope that it sparks something in your mind to make you interested in tech and even just take a look into it. You don't necessarily have to pursue it, but just take a little look into it. Do a little research in tech, see if it's for you and see if it's not. And I'll be discussing other things and a variety of things, why we need more young people in tech, diversity in tech, inclusion in tech, women in tech. I'll be talking about all that. However, I do want to get back to the topic at hand. And coding is something that I've been involved in since a pretty young age. I printed my first Hello World statement at the end of elementary school. So we're talking about fourth grade and maybe early middle school or early fifth grades when I first started coding. Then once I got into sixth grade, or really once I got into seventh grade, I was really introduced into coding a little bit more. We started coding at HTML, CSS, and we were creating websites. Seventh grade and eighth grade, we did the same thing, websites, HTML, CSS. We also used Scratch, and Scratch was a block type of coding website that we used. And eventually in high school, I took more computer science courses in ninth grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade. I took courses such as Intro to Computer Science, Intro to AP Computer Science. Then I took AP Computer Science. I also took another computer science class. I forgot what the name of the course was, but we learned JavaScript in that one. Now, we also learned again CSS, HTML. We also used another sort of block coding type of language, type of app, and that was code.org, and we are using AppLab. We use that as well. So as you see, periodically I've had some coding experience over and over again. Then once I got into college, I was a computer science major. All right, so I took Intro to Computer Science 1, Intro to Computer Science 2. I took front end development, also took advanced front end development. Ironically enough, after my freshman year, I actually switched over to being a data science and psychology major. So I'm a double major now in both STEM and the non STEM field, which is pretty cool. And an interesting thing about that is I even took advanced front end when I was a data science major. I'm still currently a data science major. I'm actually a junior now, y'all. So college is it's happening quick. All right. And the one thing that I also did so far in college, I've taken database management lab. Some of these courses have a lab attached to it. Most of them do. And I've also taken data science for social justice, which I also enjoyed. Did a hackathon for that class. Also did a news interview for that class, and I'll link that as well. But another thing that I took was data structures and algorithms, and that is a totally different video for another day. I don't even want to talk about that right now because I have to actually retake that class, which is crazy. Class, excuse me. And you're probably wondering, well, Trent, you're talking about all your coding experience. What does this lead to? Well, looking at my resume now, I'm going to list off what I know. Okay. So, as far as my programming languages, I've used Java, Python, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, React, and SQL or SQL. That's what I've learned so far throughout my coding journey. Applications that I've used: Tableau, Alteryx, MongoDB, Access, Excel, Google Sheets, SPSS, GitHub, Replit, Visual Studio Code. Now, those are all things that I've done so far. Now, some of these applications are related to data science, and some of them are not. Most of them are related to data science. And really, to discuss if I could start all over again, and this is why I say you all look. If I could start all over again, knowing what I know now, I would have just mainly focused more on data science languages. So I would have honestly learned Python a lot earlier. Ironically enough, the high school that I graduated from, they're teaching their students Python now in high school. So isn't that ironic? The one language that I wish I had more experience with before I got to college, they're learning now in high school, which is crazy. So I would definitely learn Python immediately. I would learn that like first. Then I would learn SQL. I'd probably learn SQL or R. And the reason why I would learn either of those or both of those is really just because knowing that I'm a data science major, knowing that I want to go into data science, be a data scientist, be a data analyst, business analyst, really the data analytics field is what I'm interested in. I have a very analytical mind. I think a lot. I'm a critical thinker. And I also love problem solving. I love interacting with people. And I'm also a jack of all trades. And you all can probably tell that by now, by just my YouTube content is very varied. It's a variety of things that you see. So I'm a jack of all trades, and a data scientist is a jack of all trades type of profession. So if I could go back, I would definitely learn all of those early. Knowing what I know now, I would have just focused on those main three languages, really. You know, because for me, software engineering is not necessarily what I want to go into completely. It's not what I really want to do. I do have interest in it. I've enjoyed it for the time that I've done it. I've also enjoyed tutoring people in software engineering. I've had to do that for STEM majors and non-STEM majors, and I really enjoyed that. Ironically enough, I've even been told by certain students, like, "Hey, you teach this better than my professor. Like the way you teach, the way you communicate things is very smooth and dot dot dot." Which I appreciate that compliment. I really do enjoy tutoring, especially the basics. It's just fun. It's really fun, right? But software engineering, after experience what I've experienced and different things that I could discuss even further in other videos, honestly, it's not the main thing that I really want to go into. And so if I could really restart, I'll mainly focus on those three languages. So I would also probably learn HTML around the same time. HTML, CSS, probably learn both of those around the same time too. Or if anything after those. I would say HTML, CSS are really good beginner coding languages, or just really just things. If you want to get your feet wet in coding and computer science, I think it's one of the best decisions to make. Just learn some HTML, learn some CSS, build a simple website. It's really fun, really enjoyable. Then I would probably learn Java. I don't know. Or I would maybe learn Java after learning Python. Java is something that I actually had a lot of fun with. I'm not gonna lie. I had fun with Java. I did. I also tutored another student in Java. And I had fun with the course. The course it was blatant fun to me. I rarely had difficult in it, or difficulties in it. And really, yeah, I mean, Java was pretty straightforward. Now, other than that, React is probably something that I would learn last. Just because React is not, for me, it was cool. It was a little enjoyable. Um, well, yeah, it was a little enjoyable. Let me not say I just had a blast. I'm not gonna say that. You know, React. I even know, and this is crazy. I know computer science majors that don't like React, that didn't enjoy taking the class. I've known, I knew a lot of computer science majors that didn't even take advanced front end development when I took it. It's one of those courses that I don't even think is going to be offered again, really, or maybe anytime soon at my university. I'm not too sure because we're partnered with Equinix, and so Equinix. Forget the pronunciation, but we did that, and I enjoyed taking both advanced front end and front end for the most part. I did enjoy taking both of those courses. Definitely learned some things for sure. But that's what I would do if I could learn how to code all over again. I would really just stick to mainly those data science based things. Now, the applications, those are things I really don't have to discuss right now just because those are much more like their applications, right? Like Tableau. I'm gonna be honest with you though. I would probably learn some of these just as early as well. You know, Probably would have learned GitHub a lot earlier. Probably would have learned Tableau earlier, Access, and MongoDB. Now, Excel and Google Sheets, I've had experience with that for years. I've actually been working on multiple Excel databases for a long time. Excel is pretty cool. I like Excel. Google Sheets is practically the same thing almost. They are a little different, of course, and they have their differences and similarities. But if I could go back, I'll probably learn something like Tableau earlier, MongoDB earlier, Access earlier. I probably would have learned a lot of those things earlier. To make long story short, data science related things is what I would have learned earlier, knowing that that's where I want to go now. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I say if I could go back, I would really just learn a lot of data science related coding languages and applications. So there you are, y'all. That's how I would learn how to code all over again if I could start over. So it's Trench Moore back here again. Hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll see you all later. Peace.